Aaron Howell has been a seasoned veteran of Denver's bars, restaurants, and music scene for nearly 3 decades. From corporate chains to gritty dive bars, he's done it all. Front of the house, back of the house, in the office, and even on stage. His deep roots in the industry make him not just a participant, but a living thread in the city's rich culture and mythology. Currently, Aaron serves on the executive team at Fire on the Mountain Buffalo Wings, where he wears many hats: staff advocate, training ambassador, guest services lead, and front of house manager, as well as occasional media spokesperson. An experienced coach and trainer, he is also currently furthering his expertise with studies in industrial organizational psychology. Passionate about mental health and harm reduction in the service, hospitality, and entertainment industries, Aaron is an outspoken advocate for workplace well-being. He proudly celebrates 11 years free from alcohol, tobacco, and cocaine, using his experience to support and uplift others navigating similar journeys. Aaron, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me, y'all. This is really exciting and truly an honor. What an amazing community CHOW has created. It's so great hearing about, even though some of you are feeling on the more medium well and even well done side, um, hearing you makes me feel a lot more comfortable kind of talking about my story when I come in here today. So, as Billy said, my name is Aaron Howell. I'm on the executive team at Fire on the Mountain Buffalo Wings. You heard my litany of phony baloney titles. I'm sort of a Swiss Army knife uh, role at the company. I've been trying to get him to call me the knife. I can't get it to stick. The main reason that I'm here today is to talk to you about my mental health and recovery journey, not from a place of mastery necessarily, because I definitely do not have it figured out, but as someone who is sort of in the middle of the journey and has some parallel experiences from different points in time and has a little contrast to offer. So, in terms of the things that I've struggled with mental health and recovery wise, you could break it into two epics, two eras. I'm like Taylor Swift over here. I've got my eras tour. So the two major eras that I would mention are my pre-sobriety era and my post-sobriety era. I would focus for this talk mostly on my post-sobriety era. If I spent time on my pre-sobriety era, it would take up the entire time. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I have a lot of war stories I could tell, a lot of horrifying things, and that's a whole nother talk in itself. Suffice it to say, getting sober was a major identity shift in my life. Pre-sobriety was chaos. It was wrought with legal issues. If you were to go run a background check on me right now, you would get a hilarious list of petty crimes, all alcohol related. None of them anything that I'm really proud of, but they do make for some funny reading if you ever want to dive into it. I've used every substance I could get my hands on, but mostly my drug of choice was alcohol and cocaine. I was a royal drunk. Been fronting rock and roll bands since I was in high school. So I was pretty bad. I really embraced that whole rock and roll lifestyle. And I embraced the bar lifestyle and the restaurant lifestyle. And when the ways of coping with burnout were just to drink more and take the edge off. Post sobriety was kind of a different story. In 2014, after one particularly bad day, it was actually the Super Bowl that the Broncos lost to the Seattle Seahawks. I had recently gotten off of probation and I had nobody telling me what to do. And what should have been 1 year of deferred judgment ended up turning into a 4 year felony probation case because I just could not pass an alcohol test. I kept drinking and getting in trouble. And when I finally, by the skin of my teeth, got released, I had nobody supervising me. And boy, did I go off to the races. I was a mess. And I had a very particularly bad and embarrassing day that day. And I woke up on my bedroom floor as I had many other times before. It just an absolute slobbering, piss soaked wreck. And at that time, I had been already working with a therapist who would be my therapist for the next 7 years. God rest her soul, Dr. Beverly Marks Taub, who pulled me out of the maw of hell and saved my life through therapy. I told her that if I didn't change my life, I was going to die, either literally or figuratively through madness or through going back to jail or through just destroying the entire ecosystem of my life. So she made a contract with me. She said, okay, you're not going to drink this week, and you're going to go into a contract with me, and we'll renew it week to week. And day by day, week by week, and renewing these contracts with her, I was able to put 11 years of sobriety under my belt. And as of this past Super Bowl, my Freedom Day is Super Bowl Sunday, and I love to celebrate it by working for my company. The problem is that, like a lot of people, when you get sober, you kind of think that that's the end of my problems. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to get sober, and all those problems that I had related to alcohol aren't going to be an issue anymore. And so things are just going to be great all the time. Um, the truth is that while I got rid of all those things, it is a good thing I got sober, because the worst parts, the worst struggles of my life were just ahead of me. And had I been drunk during it, I would not be sitting before you today having this conversation. Despite the fact that a lot of good things happened, I took my band on 3 tours of Europe. I got my coaching training, and I got the girl that I thought I wanted at the time, who would later become the mother to my son. A lot of existential challenges came into frame. In 2019, my son was born, which, for those of you who have kids, is an amazing and beautiful thing, but it's a complete identity shift. And it's a different kind of grief. It's like the happiest grief you'll ever have in your life, because it's the death of a certain kind of identity. You know, I had this person that I had to take care of. I had all these responsibilities, and there was a lot of pressures mounting from that, and beginning to see myself reflected through my child and how I wanted to be seen by my child. The summer after my son was born, my brother died at the age of 32 from complications resulting from diabetes that he had dealt with for many years. And it felt like a limb had been torn off of me. In 2020, we all know what happened. The world completely fucking turned upside down. And I was very fortunate that I worked for a company that stayed profitable and busy during that time. And it gave me a lot of purpose to serve food to people who were in such desperate need of comfort. And so I am very grateful for that. Even still, that was really, that and my child were the only thing that were keeping me going. It was kind of a messy time. Over the next couple of years, I saw no less than a dozen of my friends pass away through suicide, addiction, disease, murder in one case, just a tragedy, just so much loss, one thing after the other. In 2020, my mother came forward and told our family that she had been caught embezzling $2.5 million over the course of 13 years from the company that she worked for. And she was afraid my dad was going to divorce her when he found out. And of course, my dad is a good man. And when she said that what had happened and said that she was afraid he was going to divorce her, he didn't skip a beat, said not a chance. But I spent my 40th birthday speaking on my mother's behalf to try and keep a judge from sending her to jail. And then in 2023, about 2 years into going back to school to get my degree, to become a better provider and trying to be the best partner and parent that I could, my son's mother suddenly decided to end the relationship. And it turned out she was leaving me for a man she had been having an affair with for 6 months. So what followed after that was a brutal custody battle. I did end up going from breakup to buying a home within 16 weeks. And I was a full-time student, and I never dropped below a 4.0 grade point average. Something about the pain of that breakup, which completely wrecked me, gave me the energy that I needed to get through it. I still, to this day, have no idea how I did it. Whereas I had had plenty of pain before, whereas I had lost a brother very young, whereas I had seen my mother go to jail. Whereas I had had all these different experiences. I can definitely say the most rock bottom experience I ever felt in my life was when that relationship ended. And it was the most intense grief I've ever felt. It was the death of an identity. I had this identity as a family man, as keeping my relationship together and raising my son with both his parents under one roof. And that had suddenly died. And I have never been in so much pain in all my life. I thought about killing myself every single day. And when I say every single day, I mean every single day. But I never drank. I never picked up drugs. I never even thought about drinking. And that was a wonderful thing, a wonderful blessing I'm very thankful for. I had a lot of dark fantasies during this time, ranging from petty to malevolent to self destructive. Petty being somehow playing a prank or doing something to shame the man who had usurped my family in my mind, all the way up to one particular night. I began to hatch a plan to drive out to the Rio Grande Gorge Bridge, where my son's mother and I went on our first vacation as a couple, and throw myself into the gorge. Um, I was pretty set on doing it, and I had read an article because I'm very data driven. I want to know how long things take. I want to know why things happen. I want to know what the numbers say. And so I did a lot of research into how long it takes to recover from grief, from heartbreak. And sort of the number that I found through reading a bunch of stuff was for divorce, it was something like 2 years. So what I said is, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 years. And if things haven't gotten any better within 2 years, I'm going to go to the Rio Grande Gorge and I'm going to throw myself off the side. I did so much as putting a date in my calendar on my phone 2 years out for March 12th, 2025. Then I got to work and I started working on my healing routine and the things that I needed to do just to function in the world and be there for my son. I started practicing daily meditation and journaling. I went to therapy 1 to 2 times a week. I got into running, cycling, lifting. I was going on hikes, getting out in nature. I was spending time with friends. I was going to concerts. I was doing all the things that I might not have been able to do when I was in my relationship. I was having conversations with people. I was talking to anybody who could listen. My coworkers are the most wonderful people. They listen to me complain about my grief for literally a year and a half, 2 years, almost every single day without fail. I read, I sought knowledge, I studied, I applied what I was going through into my coursework, and made a lot of really great presentations and wrote a lot of really great papers about grief and fatherhood and substance abuse and all these other things. And I was fiercely committed to those things. So the tools that have helped me, for whatever it's worth, like I said, meditation, journaling, therapy, getting in nature, friends and family, these are all things that you should be doing anyway to be taking care of yourself. Another thing is I came across this 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. I don't know if you all are familiar with it. That's one that I use on the floor. I know it can be really difficult to get a moment away from the floor when you're really in the weeds during like a busy dinner service. But I do that one a lot. I go take a bathroom break and I do 5 things I can see, 4 things that I can touch or feel, 3 things that I can hear. And in a busy restaurant, you can hear plenty of things. 2 things I can smell, which in a restaurant, you can smell plenty of things. And one thing that I can taste. And then I usually finish with something I'm grateful for. I do a lot of deep breathing. I will say pain can't be reasoned away as much as I would like to. And that was something that I had to come to terms with very quickly. Sometimes you just need to sit with it, name it, and let it be. That is a practice that I had to learn, of just saying, I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling sadness, I'm feeling grief, I'm feeling pain, I'm feeling resentment, and it sucks, but it won't be forever. The clouds will part, they will pass, and I'll get through this. That's one thing I used. Riding the waves of grief. practicing gratitude. Like I said, a lot of deep breathing. And what I will say is a big part of my resilience through this was the fact that giving up is not really an option for me. I have a son that I have to take care of. I have a little boy who very much depends on me, and I have the unfortunate insight of seeing what happens when a parent loses a child. I know from watching my parents and my sister and my family suffer through the loss of my brother, that when you lose a child, it is just something that you never recover from. And I'd be damned if I was going to put them through that again. So I had to keep going. It became a thing where I had no choice. So the exercise through that has become, okay, play the tape through, entertain the fantasy, feel it completely, bore into it, allow yourself to see that fantasy all the way through, and then go, okay, now what are the consequences of acting out on that fantasy? And then from that, I chose a different story. And that has kind of become my guiding vision of what I want my life to look like on the other side of this. Now, on March 12th this year, that notification popped up. And I had imagined when I originally said it that everything would kind of be fixed and perfect, and I would be totally healed, and I would be the happiest I've ever been, and I'd be so thankful for the end of the relationship, and I wouldn't be experiencing any grief. But that's not what happened. Full disclosure, I'm 6 weeks out from a heartbreak with another relationship that didn't work out. I am definitely medium well right now. I have definitely been going through it. But when I compare this time in my life to that time in my life, I know that I have the tools that I need to survive this and get through it. And the pain is real and the pain sucks, but I know because of that experience that I'll get through it. Additionally, I have so many memories that have happened in the 2 years since I made that plan, things that I would never, never trade for the world. Concerts I've been to, funny things my son has said and done, experiences I've had with my parents. I'm getting ready to release my debut solo record, which has a lot of really personal stuff on it. My main band is getting ready to release our fourth record. I'm going on a solo tour this summer. I've got a lot of great things going on. And by the end of the Trump administration, I'll have my master's in industrial organizational psychology. And if I had chosen to check out those 2 years ago, those things would not be on the table. So kind of the core messages that I have taken from this experience is, number one, if you're thinking about getting sober, I encourage you to do it. I personally am one of those extremists who thinks that everybody should be sober. I think the world would be a better place if drugs and alcohol weren't involved. That's just me. I know I can't force that on anyone, but that is the way that I feel about it, especially in our industry. I've watched it get down countless people. That being said, sobriety won't solve all your problems. But when somebody comes to me and tells me they're thinking about it, what I tell them is we're all running hurdles. In fact, we're all running an Ironman, if you want to be real about it. Why would you want to do it with your shoelaces tied together? Anything that you can do to tie your shoelaces right, I highly recommend it. But don't think for a minute that it's going to be the end of all your problems. Number two, the most sacred relationship that you have is with yourself. Take care of yourself like someone you're responsible for taking care of. Take care of yourself like you would a child. Take care of yourself like you would your best friend, because you're the only one who's going to do it. Nobody's coming to save you. You're ultimately the only one that's responsible for taking care of you. And at an even higher level, it's all a relationship with the universe, and you are the universe manifest. So take care of yourself. Number three, identity drives behavior. Behavior drives your experience of the world, not the other way around. Choose your identity wisely and with intention. Decide the person that you want to be and how you want yourself to look 5, 10, 20 years down the road, and begin to sketch out an identity that you can be proud of. And four, pain is messy, anguish is messy, grief is messy, It is not linear, and it's going to require all the grace and grit that you can muster for yourself. Be prepared for that. It's going to take longer than you think. And just be patient with yourself and be kind. Like I said, I haven't figured it all out, but I have built a really good foundation for resilience. And I just wanted to share with you guys today some of the things that I have done that have kept keep me alive thus far and have helped keep me going and have me sitting before you today. And just one last little bit of encouragement I would give you tonight when you get off this call, write down a list of things that give you value, things that you're proud of, things that you have survived, things that you have made it through, things that you thought you would never make it through. Make a list of as many as you can think of through your entire life so that when everything else crumbles, these are the things that what save you. These are the things that save you. These are the resources that you know you have at your disposal. This is what you know you're capable of. Guys, that's all of the time I'm going to take of you tonight. I really appreciate you letting me talk. Thanks so much for having me here. It's really been an honor and a privilege to tell my story to you guys. Thank you.